What's up now? Just when you thought it was safe to go on YouTube and not find any new Watts information, People magazine just published an article a few hours ago, and it looks like Chris Watts wants to file an appeal now. I know, but that's what this new information is all about. So we were talking, I think it was last night, the night before, about how he is craving attention, how he gets information, allegedly from his family members about what's going on social media. He's getting information probably from so many people saying there should have been a trial. He probably sees that maybe someone that he protected is no longer concerned at all with him. He might want to hold some power over someone's head with this new news and may never act on it. There's a lot of different things that are going through my head right now, but let me tell you what this article says. Okay, so Chris, who we know is in a Wisconsin prison, right, for killing his entire family, is now looking at his legal options. And he's going to decide whether to appeal his conviction. This source that's close to Watts tells People magazine that Watts is looking into ways to appeal his punishment and has been researching his case and other similar cases. So I guess Mr. Watts here now is gaining access to the law library or something where he's doing this research. Interesting. Obviously, it would be an uphill battle for him because he pleaded guilty, says the source, who has knowledge of Watts' legal case. And with a guilty plea, you forfeit some of your rights to appeal. But that's not absolute. So there's a small chance that it could work out in his favor. Note, small chance. The source says that Watts has spoken with attorneys on the phone, but doesn't have a plan for his representation. It would cost him money that he doesn't have, says the insider. But he is still exploring his options. So, cost him money that he doesn't have, but he's exploring his options. Now, Mr. Christopher Watts, who's 33, but will be turning 34 in just a couple of weeks here, is in this Wisconsin correctional facility serving multiple life sentences. He took a plea deal last November for the August 13th, 2018 murders of his pregnant wife Shanann and their two young daughters, Bella 4 and Celeste 3. On February 18th, there was a recorded interview which was released on March 7th, where Chris gave another version of the confession. And many struggled to believe much or all of what he said in this confession. Part of it includes that he said his wife Shanann may have been praying as he strangled her to death inside their bedroom. He said he then drove his wife's body to his job site with his two young daughters alive in the back seat, which is entirely different than the first confession, where they were all deceased when they left the house. And then he says he then smothered the girls and put them in the oil tanks in the broad daylight, while he also buried Shanann in a shallow grave. And he said Bella's last words were, "Daddy, no." In describing that, he said, "I hear it every day when Bella was talking to me. When she said, 'Daddy, no.'" He also said he speaks to the photos of his family in his cell, and he reads a book out loud that he used to read to Cece every night to them. Now, according to this insider, Chris feels like he was unable to explain some of the mitigating circumstances of what happened on the night he killed his family. Okay, that goes along very much with a theory that many of us are holding, that perhaps Chris did not act alone on these impulses. Now, whether or not Chris is truthful, or is this another shadow game with him? That all remains to be seen on how forthcoming he will be if he does do this, and if he does implicate anyone else. According to this insider, everything happened so fast at the end of the legal proceedings, the source says. And he's not sure he was in the right frame of mind to plead guilty like he did. For him, it's not just about him getting out of jail, it's also that he hasn't been able to really have his day in court. Okay, so now he really wants his day in court. This goes against everything that he said so far. Remember, not putting people through that, flying out, going on with this for years, not putting the attorneys through that, not wanting to put his family through that. Not that he was protecting anyone. Could it be that some of us were right all along? Could it be that someone's blown him off? Could he be trying to get someone's attention and remind them that he holds the cards, not them? It's starting to look like that. So even if Chris retains an attorney licensed to practice in Colorado, he'd still have to deal with the appeal from several states away because he's in Wisconsin. He understands that this would be a Hail Mary, said the insider. He's smart enough to realize that it's unlikely to ever change anything, but he's sitting in prison with nothing but time. It's sinking into him that he could be in that same cell for 50 years. And now he's trying to decide whether there are any legal remedies for him. So for a recap, and we will discuss this more this evening, I just wanted to get this information out there so you can mull it over, come up with some thoughts and theories that we can discuss tonight. And I know a lot of you probably have swirling minds. Maybe some of you are saying, I knew it. But it does sound that this is orchestrated by a person that loves to be in the public eye, loves the attention, and someone that is relishing being studied and profiled as a Chris Watts, and perhaps someone that's seeking some retribution because perhaps he protected someone, perhaps he agreed to something to protect someone that he thought would be so grateful, who would write to him, visit him, make his life on the inside just a little brighter. And maybe he's feeling ignored. And maybe he's even heard things that are making him very angry or jealous. And perhaps being on the inside, it's easy for him to feel that he doesn't hold power over someone. So is this his big hurrah? It's not so much about an appeal as it is to scare someone and let them know that you better pay attention to me. Because if you don't, you're not going to have that cushy life. Remember that at least she's on the outside. Remember that from the first confession, she wasn't supposed to be there. Remember how he seems kind of foggy on whether the children were strangled or smothered. It should have been smothered. How he talks on and on about not being able to flip a switch and the plan being in place. And if only he had gone to that Rockies game, the Broncos game instead of the Rockies game that he didn't go to because there was no Rockies game. But if he had only gone to that Broncos game instead of that phony Rockies game, which was really the lazy dog, and now with the hole digging and the amount of time it's taking, it's looking like that may have been a setup as well, but whatever. It seems to me he's orchestrating this for an ulterior motive that isn't so much about him appealing as it is to just tip his hand to someone that you better watch your step. But anyway, we'll talk about it more tonight. Hope everyone's having a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.